All right, so I wanted to add this to the video you're about to watch because this came out. I had recorded the video earlier. So Kameha Con is bringing back Vic. There's a statement by Vic. So very grateful and happy to say that I will be a guest at Kameha Con in Dallas, April 12th through the 14th. Special thanks to Kameha Con staff and their con chair for the privilege to join you. I like how he says that there. So the privilege to join you. Whereas you have someone like Chris Sabat, where it's a privilege for you to join him. Is if there's anything that he's shown over this time period, the ego and the narcissism of these D-list celebrities that think that there's somebody special. And I'd also like to say that it's very nice that the man who's literally had his face dragged through the mud has been the most professional of them all. I think that that's pretty telling. So here's the actual physical announcement. Kameha Con. Please welcome Broly, a.k.a. Vic Mignogna, to Kameha Con 2019. So it's official. They're bringing him back. In the video, this was made before he was coming back, so I'm just putting that in there. Also, I talk about the Sabat and Soy theory, that they are Igor and Igor. It was confirmed that Toei is not one of them. But it's very possible, and it does seem very likely, that Sabat is one of the two. I think maybe possibly Jamie Marchi is one of them, but, we'll have to figure that out. There are a lot of clues that were left in that live stream. So anyway, just forget about that. Anyway, the video is more about showing some of the nasty stuff Sabat has done, particularly a few things that we found on his social media and such. So anyway, enjoy the video. Thank you, everybody, for your support and helping the channel grow and making this message grow. The GoFundMe is also back open. You can donate to that as well. It's going up to 200,000 now because, well, you have to go to like IO9 and stuff, Gizmodo. It's going to be a long, long road. Anyway, thanks for watching. Here's the video. I'll talk to you soon. Again. And I'm going to put this article in the description. I'm not even really going to go over it. It's just there for background right now. But if you want like a TLDR Cliff Notes version of what's going on with Kameha Con and his collusion from the two streams that Nick Rekieta did, you can give this a read. It kind of sums things up pretty good, particularly from the first one where he outed everything. But there's a couple of things that I really wanted to talk about, and it's his behavior and this elitism that seems to be coming from these voice actors, particularly him, because he hasn't been too vocal. But a lot's come out, particularly in the second stream where Ty Beard came on with Nick, and they talked about, Igor, these two code names, because they didn't want to, get Vic in trouble or ruin the case. So wisely, they used kind of fake names. Well, we think we might know who they are, and we're going to go over that, particularly because one of them is probably Chris Sabat. And like I said, the Kameha Con is for the fans. Vic was under contract, and you have Chris Sabat and Monica Rial blowing up the owner of the con, hassling him, threatening him, and making it so he doesn't want to do the con anymore. That is tortious interference in Texas law. So you guys are in some trouble. But the fact that Ron Toye was used as a mouthpiece, right? That's what's coming out. That's coming right from the source, according to Nick, that he was the mouthpiece and moving around all these cons and name for Sabat and Rial. And you're going to see plenty of pictures of them all hanging out in a second. But I particularly want to hit on Chris Sabat because I've heard some things about him in the past, right? But I find it hard to confirm. But there's been little hints here and there on message boards about questionable behavior. And what really kind of makes me think that it might be true when you hear about these voice actors that see us as, necessary evils, that when we come into the room, it makes it stink because we're lowly commoners, that they have these big heads and they look down on us. It made me kind of confirm it even more when I saw this from For Neverworld. So if you don't know who this guy is, he has a huge Dragon Ball anime channel, like 500 something subs, 500,000 subs or something. I know it's pretty dang big. And he wouldn't say what he said, but apparently he had a recent conversation with Chris Sabat. And he didn't want to show the DMs. He kind of thought about it, but he didn't do it. But he shared a story about how when he was first starting out, he went to the red carpet for Battle of Gods. And Chris Sabat, was kind of trying to get him to go away from him. He said, like, and I quote, "Get this weird-looking guy away from me." It's really disrespectful, and it really kind of summed up a lot of what we've all been saying about him. So I want to go ahead and read over this tweet because I think it says a lot about his character. Chris Sabat's character, anyway. In light of all the messed up allegations against voice of Vegeta Chris Sabat, here's something I wanted to get off my chest for a few years now. Not the biggest deal, but it was one of my first biggest disappointments I've had meeting someone I looked up to at one point. And here's the statement. He actually said this in the video. Not surprised I made a decision years ago to turn Sabat saying something very disrespectful to me into a joke, so I wasn't the only YouTuber to cause a scene at a red carpet event. You can even hear I addressed him about it a year later in my Resurrection F interview, but I turned it humorous and said, "You blew me off to save the embarrassment, but no, Mr. Sabat." In 2014, on the DBZ Battle of Gods red carpet event, when I was trying to get an interview, said, I'm trying to get away from this weird-looking guy," in reference to me. "I flew out there to meet a piece of S like that. I'm cool." So in the video, he elaborates on this a little bit more. And he said basically, this guy flew out, I'm pretty sure on his own coin, right, just to go see the movie on the red carpet. And he's just an influencer. Didn't have a big channel at the time. It was much bigger during Resurrection of F. And basically, he's like, who is this piece of garbage? It's like this guy flew all the way out there to do this, and he looks down on him like he's crap. Now, I'm not here to have a debate if you like him or not. I think he's a straight up dude. He seems all right to me. I've only had like one interaction with him in a live stream, but for the most part, I think For Neverworld's decent dude. He's putting his channel and his connections on the line by standing with Vic. And, I thought that this was very telling when he came out and said this, because it really shows the difference between someone like Vic and Sabat. Because I've never heard of any fan saying anything bad about Vic. He seemed to generally cherish them, where you have someone like Sabat who wants to smash them like cockroaches. And another thing that I've heard is that Vic got the jobs he got on his own, whereas everybody else has to go through Sabat. Like, he's the king ding-a-ling, and everyone's got to kiss the ring of Lord Sabat to get a job. And I think there's a lot of resentment there. Resentment that fans generally seem to really care about him, and they would line up outside of the door to see Vic, but, Sabat might not get so much love like that. I'm sure he gets some as the voice of the American Vegeta, but his attitude still seeps through. It turns out he's quite the fake effer, especially the way he's going around and contacting multiple cons. Chris Sabat and Monica Rial, but Chris Sabat in general, as kind of like the godfather of voice actors, the guy going around and canceling Vic from cons. Stuff that would make the fans happy, right? And here's one of the things. So this is speculation, right? Can't say for sure, but they talked about Igo and Igor a lot on the Ty Beard and Nick Rakita stream. And apparently it's sounding like Igo, Chris Sabat, Ty mentions everyone heard you contact conventions, and Igor, Ron Toy, he did his dirty work indeed. So a lot of the speculation for that is coming from this. So this is coming from Cody Bayer, Lord Schmecky or whatever. Pulled up these archives here. This big old long interaction between Chris Sabat and Ron Toy. Look at all this interaction of a year ago. Big old buddies. going on and on, all the way back to the 2015 of January 3rd. Quite interesting, the relationship that they seem to have. Oh, Igor and Igor, just the best of friends, huh? Even here, look at this good old time here they're having, hanging out before Chris is about to go lay it down on Monica, and Ron watches. Now, I can't say for sure this is Igor and Igor, but given that they go back to 2015, right, the three of them, Monica, Ron, and Chris, and the story of Ron being the mouthpiece, it kind of makes sense to me. I can't confirm it 100%, but I'm leaning towards that this is something for real, because when you have the kind of power that Chris has, right? I mean, he runs the dubbing studio. It can go to your head. And Abraham Lincoln said, if you want to test the true character of a man, give him some power. And I think that we are starting to see the character of Chris Sabat. There's a tweet where Chris says, "Remember that Vic is an actor." Well, I found that ironic because Chris is also an actor. And I think he does a damn good job of it. I think, he walks into those con doors, he puts a smile on his face, and inside that smile is anger. If you look past the stretched smile and the teeth, a lot of anger and hatred for fans. It would have to be for them to do what they've done and to go around and just get him booted off of cons, because it makes no other sense why. Like, why he would do that. So, I really want to bring all this to light, particularly the stuff with for Neverworld, because I think it really highlights the kind of character that he has. I also want to point out, look at these. So, this is an out-of-context tweet, right? Here's the thing where he talks about an actor. So, I don't want to give any kind of, weight to this or add to it, but this is what he said to somebody. So he's talking to somebody, Evan, and says, I know you and you are a smart guy, but you need to understand that this is a very personal matter for many of us and that I can't talk publicly about this for various reasons, but you should respect the fact that I know a lot more about this than most people, and I know which is the right side to be on. I would recommend you be patient and wait until you know more details before passing judgment on me. Because I know I can say this to you privately, Vic is not the innocent person he wants you to believe he is. He's an actor. Remember that. So that was what I was just talking about, where he's talking about he's an actor. However, Chris is also an actor. So quite the funny tweet there. And of course, he's not so innocent himself when you see these kind of tweets that he sent, right? I mean, this is a pretty horrible tweet, but hey, he can send this out no problem, right? No backlash. And the Kick Vic side themselves, you have this guy Zach here. He went ahead and doxed the workplace of Nick. How lovely! And of course, it's endorsed by people like Renfamous. Interesting question to ask, isn't it? Check out the links. Make sure you're still subscribed, and I'll see you guys on the next one.